Thank you very much, Jess. Fantastic to be racing here in Townsville for the Castrol Edge Townsville 400. I'm joined by Tony D'Alberto, who's just seen his co-driver for Bathurst stick it in the top 10 shootout. That must be a good feeling.
That was great. They've had a tough weekend, so really good to see him chuck it in the top 10 there, and he's got another shot in the shootout before the race, so good times.
A couple of clouds around today, a little bit more humid than it has been for the last couple, but still another magnificent sunny North Queensland day. Yesterday's first race for the GTs was very exciting. It went all the way down to the wire, and that man there in the Sticks McLaren got the win. And he'll start this race alongside Tony Bates, who will be feeling a little bit nervous because he doesn't get to start many races on the front row. So we check out Castle Hill, and what a magnificent place this is for a race. It's just so picturesque. Have you tried running or cycling up that before?
I'm a race driver. I'm not an athlete. Jeez.
I know. You get out there on the bike and do a fair bit of riding around. And
no, we do. I haven't ventured up there just yet. I've driven up there. Great view, but I haven't stretched the legs up there just yet.
How about Christopher Mees, who'll take control of car number 1? He spent the last 7 weekends racing, and after every session this weekend, the German's gone for a 10K run.
That's just silly. It's just silly.
Does he realise it's hot here today? As we head off on the formation lap. We will see him in action very shortly at the Spa 24 Hours, as well as a few Aussies heading over for that one, including Roger Largo, who starts this race in position 3. He's got David Russell on the radio to him this weekend. There goes the JBS Lamborghini out of shot. This can get a little bit difficult to understand sometimes, Tony. So let's just try and explain it. The way that CAMS has regulated this series is to have 12 different rankings. So you have pro and amateur, and there are 6 levels within that. So the best drivers, like Christopher Mees, will have longer pit stop times to help even out the field. It's all about keeping the gentleman drivers in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. They want to give them the chance to actually get a win if things fall their way. They might not be the quickest driver, but they can still get an opportunity to win.
So that pit stop window opens up around the halfway marker. The longest time you could possibly have is 139 seconds, which is a very long pit stop. And in this race, Bates and Mees will be there for 1:50. So that is a long time to be sitting there. Magnetic Island just off the coast. On a little bit of an overcast day, but very good conditions for racing right now.
Yeah, I actually went down and had a look at the guys, had a look at the cars down there, and there's a couple of guys with new tyres on for this race, and Roger Largo, starting out of P3, is one of those guys.
He'll start alongside our points leader, but is actually now tied on points between he and Clark Quinn with 3 races to go. Keep an eye out for the pro guys who are going to start out this one, like Marshall. Grant Daniel's going to start that car alongside Jonathan Webb, who will hop in it later. And Tunis and Wood will come ripping through the field in the early parts of this race. Muston will start in the GT3 Walkinshaw Porsche. Craig Baird will be finishing in the beautiful AMG, so he'll be hoping maybe for a safety car to bring him back into the game. Ricky Kappa off the back alongside Steve McLaughlin. And again, we're seeing this massive stretch of cars all the way back around to where the Virgin Australia chicane is. So we're getting ready for a start, but look at this, it's a bit messy at the moment, Tony. You guys need to catch up to the pack here, or they're going to be a long way off the pace. Must be killing guys like Taylor and Baird, who want to be up there and racing for the win. I can't see. There's the STM Mercedes just joining the fray. Set for a start. Green flag here at the Castrol Edge Townsville 400 is in the air. CAMS Australian GT Championship is going. Great start, Marcus Marshall. He gets level there with the Aston Martin. They're going to go 4 wide mid-pack. They sorted out before turn 1. That was never going to work. And it's a good start for Clark Quinn. Tony Bates is not going to make the turn out there, and he'll lose a spot to a couple of Lambos who go banging doors. And Morecambe, the championship leader, is going to try and pick up an extra spot or 2, but can't seem to get through the 2 wide Lamborghinis. Wow.
Yeah, that was an interesting start there. Bates, obviously cold tyres, cold brakes. Tried to brake at the same point that he's been braking all weekend and just didn't have the tyre grip available. So we've got Ricky Capo spun there at the back. Ricky's had an interesting weekend. He's explored a few...
this isn't going to work. Oh, have a look at the move from Antunis. Stop it. Stop it. 2 cars on the outside at turn 7. That was awesome. What a move.
Now, chatting to these guys yesterday, they actually did cop a little bit of damage at the start of yesterday's race, so that's why they were wounded. Morecambe now down the inside of Largo, and Denya's trying to stick his nose up there as well.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, Largo's going to go to bed tonight having nightmares about McLarens. because they just will not stop hounding him on this first lap.
There's a lot of them. Almost as many as the Audis.
Oh, speaking of Audis, here comes McLaughlin. How did he find that cap? That could have been carbon fibre confetti.
I tell you what, his foot would have been pushing as hard as he could through that floor, trying to stop that car then.
The Lambos has got the legs, but Morecambe, with a little bit of a side swipe, will take that position. That was getting a little bit messy there. The championship co-leader nearly found himself in the fence, but gets through. Wow, frantic start to this one.
And as we mentioned over the weekend, the pro guys now are just trying to make...
That's not going to work. Taylor and Mustin get together. Mustin was there. Taylor didn't know, though. He was unfortunately at the inside and contact was made.
Probably not the easiest car to do a flick spin either, so I'll be interested to see how he handles this.
Traction control off.
Yeah, you need to turn it off.
Oh, and finding reverse. This is just time.
It's a tricky thing in these cars, you know. It's not like a supercar where you got a heap of grunt and no traction control and spin around. Oh, you see he's trying to grab a gear. There he goes. Grabs reverse. He's away now. He'll be okay. That was an interesting move there from the Porsche. Never going to get up the inside there, and Greg was caught unawares. Got a car in the fence.
That is not the spot to stop. That's the Rulo Performance West car, and you can see the trail from behind him and how that started. And if he can't move that car, we'll be headed to our first safety car.
So we're only on lap 3 here. We've got a lot of cold tyres still. So guys haven't driven since yesterday. They're trying to get their cars up to temp, trying to hustle them. And it's very easy to make a mistake. It's actually done a bit of damage there. You see it's pushed it back in.
West Australian trying to get out of this tricky situation here.
I'd say we're going to have a safety car here. We've got a lot of debris on the track.
Clark Quinn leading the way at the moment, probably not wanting a safety car here. But I don't think we're going to be able to avoid it. That's not the spot you want to be leaving a $500,000 race car. Okay, let's have a look first at the start of the race. It was unbelievably hectic between guys like Tony Quinn. So watch out for the big Aston Martin, because at one point here, Tony, he was 4 wide. Here comes the jump. Everyone trying to squabble for position. Great start, Marshall. Look at that, right there, 4 wide. Impressive. And, oh dear. So, there's more news to the tail here for the Z4.
So I'm not sure if Ricky's picked up a little bit of damage there, with debris from the circuit. And he looks like he's gone the fence quite hard.
We said yesterday that the Z4 hasn't got any big wins to it, name. I forgot about last year's 24 Hours of Spa.
You did. I saw that on Twitter. They're calling you up there.
Thank you for pointing that one out. The fan that picked up on that one yesterday. So this is Tony Bates just overshooting it down there, and so lucky not to lose about 3 or 4 spots. Yeah,
and Glenn Wood cops a little bit of contact there with Lager, getting sandwiched in the middle. Look at the lock on the cars, trying to get around. Oh, Wood.
Jeez, these Lambos have been into it. What happened to Ricky Capo? We might get a bit more of an idea here. Off someone's bumper.
So that's Capo getting turned around earlier, and he might have got the puncture then.
True. These cars don't have the ability to, as the safety car is now deployed. Here we go. We'll check out the Mustin and Taylor incident here. This is Greg Taylor.
See, to be honest there, Mustin's quite a long way up the inside. You know, I expect Greg to sort of see that and maybe just give him a little bit of room, maybe not surrender the spot.
And this is Rulo finding the fence.
So I wonder where the Capo was in. Oh, no,
it was Twig and Richards.
Twig, yeah.
It was the car next to it. Hard to see if there was contact or not. No, there wasn't. He lost that on his own. You do see that a bit here. The car bounces very...
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, he's lost brakes there, or tyre failure. Something's happened. That was out of control.
Gee, Ricky Capo.
Now, they sit on the left-hand side, so he can't really get out of the car that well there. Up against the tyres. Got Rulo in the pits there with all the damage. That's not going anywhere. Richo there.
He's just thinking, I'm glad my car's in one piece at the moment, because there's about 10 others that can't say the same, unfortunately. What a frantic start to the second and final race for Cam's Australian GT this week, and there'll be 2 more races. Richo just glances down at the camera. Okay, here's Capo. Oh, right rear puncture.
Tyre's gone there.
As a result, as you mentioned, Tony, that's what happened to him earlier.
Wow.
Oh, my. I was mentioning earlier this week, and he had a crash at Winton the very first day he drove this car in Australia with brake failure. Now he's had a tyre puncture.
He hasn't actually had a great run. He's had some good results. Got a podium at Phillip Island in the sprint series. but he's had a few crashes.
Yeah.
Poor old Frank, his old man, will be repairing those cars, trying to do it as cheap as they can, because they're on a really tight budget, those guys. And
crashes caused by failures, I might mention as well. So, but sometimes you got to know if a tyre is slowly deflating. These guys don't have the ability like a supercar. You have warnings when tyres are slowly losing air like that.
Yeah, I mean, he is a passenger there. There's nothing really he could do, but didn't have the contact earlier in the race. He probably he wouldn't be facing that drama. But these guys now, the big challenge is try and keep a little bit of tire temp. We know it's really warm out there, but you know, you still got to try and weave and brake and keep the brake temperatures up for when you go racing again, which won't be a long safety car, I wouldn't expect.
Also worth mentioning here, Tony, he's come into that corner at over 200 k's an hour. He's had a complete failure and gone flying into a tyre wall. They did an amazing job at arresting that level of speed. In other countries, they don't have the same safety standards that CAMs bring to the table. That could have been a different story. And he will live on to fight another day. And hopefully that car, too, will survive that hit, courtesy of a very well-placed tyre wall down there at turn number 2. So Lexus RCF safety car at the point at the moment. And it's Clark Quinn leading the way. Tony Bates in second. This is okay news for them because they do have the ace up their sleeve, being Christopher Mies, who was nearly a second under the lap record yesterday, but they also do have the longest pit stop here today of 1 minute and 50 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, for Bates and Mies, it's probably a good thing, the safety car, but for Clark Quinn, it's disaster. He needs to hustle and get away from Bates, make a big gap. Because Mies yesterday, unbelievable pace, lap record pace, and I wouldn't expect anything different today. So Clark didn't quite have that pace yesterday, so it'll be interesting to see whether he can build enough gap to actually hold on to the race win.
Okay, so it's Clark Quinn from Tony Bates. There he is. Number 1 was driven by Jeff Emery in Perth. He suffered a nasty accident, but the good news is he's up and about and he's going with Kylie in the pits.
Yes, you're right. It's great news. Jeff, you're here watching the guys, but importantly, how's your health?
Yeah, no, going really well now. Obviously, it was a fairly nasty shunt and shattered my lower vertebrae, so probably lucky to be walking, but the rehab's going really well, and happy to be back at the racetrack and sort of start getting back into the swing of things, I guess. I mean, I'm out of racing for this year, but looking forward to coming back with the Audi guys for next year.
Okay, you saw Tony Bates in your seat off at that start. It was a bit of a nervous one for him, wasn't it?
Oh, look, he was very lucky to get away with it. Obviously, he ran a bit deep into turn 1 down there, and he pulled it off. So lucky for Tony that they let him back in again in the traffic. So, yep, done a good job so far, and he done a really good job yesterday. So let's hope he can keep my seat warm for me.
Well, it's great to see you here, and good luck with the rehab.
No worries. Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
So good to see him back. Jeff Emery, it was a nasty crash. Had us all holding our breath there for a moment in Perth, but thankfully he's back, and thankfully we're back under green flag conditions here. Lexus safety car pulls it on into the pits, and Clark Quinn wants to get a wriggle on here. Tony Bates tucked in behind him. Christopher Mies will be taking control of that car soon, and we're about 16 minutes away from the pit stop window opening. Make that 15, so get a move on. Wow, good start here for Wood. He may even have a crack here at Tony Bates on the restart. Draws level, has the inside line to turn 2, and wow, actually Bates is braver under brakes and holds on.
The Lambo traditionally isn't as good on the brakes of the Audi, so I sort of expect that a little bit, but Bates did a very good job there of holding a professional driver like Glenn Wood behind him there.
Nice work for Bates. This is all helping Clark Quinn to try and eke out that lead. A lot of the McLaren drivers, particularly the techno cars, were complaining that their brake rotors were just melting off the cars yesterday. European tracks are, 1, a little bit cooler, and 2, have nice long straights to cool those brakes down. Tracks like here or Clipsal, that's a luxury that the McLaren brakes do not have, and they are suffering from a little bit of brake fade later in the race. No such issues at the moment, though, for Clark Quinn. He's a clear leader.
Marcus Marshall in the background there, having a little bit of a look on Morecambe. Didn't quite get it done. Nathan Antunes much more competitive today, so I think they're in for a shot of a good result also.
Scott Taylor in 12th. If he can bring that thing in there anywhere near the top 10 and hand it over to Craig Baird, it'll be a job done for Scotty today. That'll be a great effort, holding his own. As we go on board with Nathan Antunes, who pulled off that almighty move at the first lap around the top of turn 7. Still no change between Wood and Bates. Largo in behind the Super Barn Audi of Marcus Marshall. And that's Grant Denyer in the Just Cuts 59 McLaren.
But Denya in particular there, he's got to get a wriggle on, try and get through some of the traffic, because they've got one of the longest pit stop times out of everybody. And Jono Webb is going to really have to get a wriggle on later in the race to try and make up that deficit. I'm surprised that Glenn Wood hasn't been able to make a move just yet. We've sort of spoken about over the weekend, when you're tucked up behind somebody, you've got that dirty air, your car doesn't handle quite as good. And you just can't quite get close enough coming onto the front straight here.
Needs a good exit at the hairpin to try and draw level, or at least go all the way past Tony Bates, because Bates has been excellent under brakes down there at turn 2.
I reckon last night Bates would have had a little bit of a look at Mises' data and just sort of picked up a few bits and pieces for today's race that he can sort of improve. His braking looks really, really strong. So that might be one point that he's improved his game, because he seems to be more competitive today.
Wood tucked right in behind the Audi. Can he leap to the inside and make it stick this time? Bates doesn't even need to cover the inside, because he's just that good in the Gemic Pem Audi under brakes. Holds on to P2. Good battle, this one.
So Glenn's brakes should be getting nice and warm behind the Audi. It's all bad news for Glenn, unfortunately. He'll keep nibbling away at the back bumper, and I'm sure he'll get the job done. Nathan there, just behind this little battle pack, trying to close that gap. Got Morecambe right behind him. Morecambe we haven't seen.
Turn 7. Ooh. They do a good job at avoiding catastrophe, but that's proof that he's losing his patience. He's not enjoying sitting in third. He can see the leader getting away. Wood's pit stop time will be 40 seconds quicker than that of Clark Quinn. He's desperate to get onto the back of him and give his co-driver, Justin McMillan, who's quite a capable co-driver, a chance at maybe winning this race. It's looking good for them, but he needs to get around this Audi. 12 minutes, Tony, until the pit stop window opens.
So we're on board again with Nathan Enchinez. Really fast part of the circuit here. And when you're tucked up behind somebody, like just looking through the front here, it looks like Glenn's going to make a move now. Well and truly got it done now. Oh, he runs a little wide.
He's got a left rear puncture. That touch was enough to flatten the left rear, I think. Yes.
Disaster.
There just didn't need to be contact then. After all that hard work, after finally getting level, carbon fibre enough to slice that Pirelli down. Oh, whoa. Bates with a really bad exit, leaving himself vulnerable now to Antunes at turn 7. He dives on that brake pedal and makes it stick, goes to P2. And I wonder maybe Bates is struggling as well after that contact.
He might have a puncture as well, who knows. But he's sort of out of rhythm a bit here. He's getting swamped. Nathan, though, as soon as he saw that opportunity, he was straight down the inside.
Marcus Marshall.
Yeah, I think there's something wrong.
If there is a problem, it'll be the left front. Maybe steering damage. Doesn't look like a tyre deflating.
It didn't look like that big a hit, to be honest, to really bend the steering. But, you know, sometimes when you just collect wheels and it can just be the slightest wrong angle can do enough damage to tweak the steering. And that's what actually happened to Elliot Barber yesterday. So, who knows?
Here we go. More action at turn 2. It's Morecambe under fire from Marshall. Hangs onto that spot in the DPO McLaren. And also a good battle going on between Largo in that Lambo and poor old Tony Bates. He just spent the better part of 10 minutes fending off a black Lamborghini. He's got to do it again now. Largo's pit stop time will be the shortest out of the front runners. And there's Wood crawling home with that unfortunate puncture. What a shame. Throws their race out the window, and it was looking so strong for them too. Trying desperately to get that car back.
Got to be a little bit careful he doesn't create more damage to the car by dragging it home like that. From the cockpit, it'll be sounding pretty terrible. Let carbon fibre getting pulled off the car. Denya's still working away at the back of Largo.
All right, Tony, you're the pro. How do you see this?
Well, I mean, Glenn did sort of move across to the left, but it wasn't a big hit, but he says enough to give him the puncture and wreck his race. But I just wouldn't...
And Tunis had a good view of that one.
I just struggle to see how Bates' car really would have copped a lot of damage from that.
Man, it was the smallest of touches, with the biggest of repercussions. And change for position here. Morecambe has now gone behind Marshall.
They're in a pretty good spot. Their stop time isn't too bad, and James Maduris is a very good steerer himself, so I reckon they're on for a podium today. That's my prediction.
Bates looks to have rallied here. Kind of like a prize fighter after being knocked to the ground. You just need to get your bearings back, and it looks like that seems to be the case here for Tony. He still has a chance to bring this car back and hand it over to Mies in a good position. Largo, fastest first sector of the race on this lap. So the Lambo in the middle here, charging as Wood has done a really good job of making it back in the Interloy in Motorsport car. That's a shame, a real shame. And it's before the compulsory pit stop window, so they'll actually have to come back in later on.
Yeah, I was going to say that. They don't get that opportunity to do their driver change and the tyre stop at the same time, so they're in a world of pain for this one, unfortunately.
And the spike didn't want to go in. Oh, Ashton Marty with a last minute. Oh, Hookie gets into the side. The anguish from Tony was evident there in commentary as McLaughlin goes the long way.
I was just going to mention Steve McLaughlin. He's come from the back and he's making good progress there.
Fire in the hole for the McPherson Porsche. We'll be handing that car over to Brad Shields later.
Hookie just went in too deep there, couldn't get the car stopped. Not much of a hit, but enough to turn him around. So I think Hookie will be getting in trouble for that one.
All part of the learning process when you're the new guy. He's got Greg Taylor to deal with here. Erebus prepared car. Erebus in the top 10 shootout today. Here it is again. In his defence, Ash Shamadi threw half a move to block him, but the damage is done.
Yeah, you're not actually really allowed to do what Ash just did there, where you sort of have a bit of a fake to the inside. Hookie just couldn't pull it up in the end there, so unfortunate.
Twig and McLaughlin. That one's a bit more straightforward.
Wow, yeah.
From up top. Paul Max Twig have got multiple angles of evidence on this one.
Super late move there for Twig. Steve was sort of very committed to the corner and yeah, just turn around there. So I think Twig will be getting a pit lane penalty for that one. Got Clark Quinn out in the front. As I've said many times, he'll be hustling, trying to get that gap, trying to build as big a gap as he can.
And take the championship lead outright. I heard there's a question there that he might not even be able to race at the last round of the championship, potentially. So, if we go back to second.
Yeah, and Tunas is looking good here as well. Their pit stop time's quite short compared to Clark Quinn.
Yes, about 18 seconds shorter. And you'd rate Elliot Barber's chances of bringing that home, actually, at the end. So it's looking pretty good for them, and Tunas has done a great job at nullifying their bad grid spot by just passing as many cars as possible. Largo also in with a good chance. Largo will probably come out of the pit stop sequence out front and try and fend for his life. This is the man I talk of in the JBS Lambo. Tony Quinn also just floating around. You can always expect Tony to pop up somewhere in the fight. Still 5 minutes away from that pit stop window opening.
Marcus Marshall trying to show his nose here. Now he's giving a bit of room.
It's not really worth fighting for this position. You've got to think more about your overall time of the race in this situation. Is it worth just letting Marcus go through, knowing that your pit stop time will be shorter and you've got a co-driver that could probably take on James Konduras? Marshall's pit stop time 1:23 and Tunis 1:26, so Marshall's pit stop time would be 3 seconds shorter.
Yeah.
But Barber, like we mentioned in that McLaren, should be able to rip this thing home and catch that Super Barn Audi in the late stages of the race. It's a real thinking game, this one.
Yeah, when you look at the race at the moment, it's a little bit difficult to follow. Here he goes, down the inside.
Yeah.
And Nathan,
whoa,
not even attempt to try and turn it in front of him.
I wonder if they had a downshifting issue then.
Yeah, that was strange that he left him so much room.
He left the door open. He didn't mean to leave it completely open like that and go off wide.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happened there, but that was very generous of Nath.
Unfortunately, he's lost a fair bit of time here. As a result, a couple of seconds here, a couple of seconds there, it all counts. Tony Bates now has really got his focus back on after that little squabble with the Lamborghini. There is the Melbourne Performance Centre crew, and there is the German star ready for action. Gloves going on. Brad Shields ready. He will take control of the Porsche. Pit stops not far away. Cam's Australian GT Championship. Up on the curbs, Nathan Morecambe. Haven't seen too much of that from anyone this weekend apart from Craig Baird. Direct plasterboard outlet McLaren. It's a Sydney-based company, DPO, but also with some outlets up in Darwin, Nathan tells me. Reigning Bathurst 6-hour winner.
Yeah, with Chaz Mostert. I think that's a family business DPO there.
He's the reigning 6-hour winner, driving the reigning 12-hour car.
Yeah, he's having a stellar year, Nathan Walker. Probably come into the year not expecting to have so much success, but his seeding and his speed has worked out beautifully for him, and he's jumped into a team that have a lot of runs on the board, so they're not doing it by halves, and they're doing a great job. Got Largo here. He's going to have a go here at Bates. Oh, Bates is so strong under brakes.
Audi's awesome this weekend. It was a pleasure watching Christopher Mees in qualifying trim, going toe-to-toe with Baird for pole. Mees breaking the qualifying lap record, taking your race lap record by a casual 8/10.
Yeah, so I reckon Nay's got a drama here.
He's fallen back to 11th. And
that's a real shame, because as I was saying before, I thought they had a bit of a shot at getting a podium today, but yeah, there's something definitely wrong with that car.
They did have brake issues on top of the steering drama yesterday, Tony. Just overheating of those brakes.
Yeah. You don't want brake failure at this place.
Can you pick up anything here listening in? He's just cruising.
Yeah, I don't know.
If there are brake problems, he obviously doesn't want to go too fast.
Yep.
Which could be why he's just cruising and short shifting, and yeah, I think brakes, because look how early he's... There goes Max Twigg and the big BMW.
Yeah, they've had a few dramas with these McLarens this year. Like we mentioned it yesterday, some electrical problems and just bits and pieces that probably not as robust as what some of the other cars are.
But having said that, they're first and second in the points. Like, it's a fast car when it works, but they're not bulletproof.
Yeah, exactly.
Pit stop window could just about be open at the end of this lap. It mightn't be such a bad idea for Tony Bates to bring her in and hand it over to Mees. Although,
as soon as he can, he will.
Yeah, but
sure.
He might have to do another lap, because Mees won't be allowed to do more than 33 minutes of actual drive time.
We've got Max Twigg in. Do a driver change.
No, the window's not open yet. Drive through, I reckon.
Oh, yes.
I reckon that'll be...
Probably on Steve McLaughlin, yep.
Yeah, the slap on the wrist, I reckon, that one. Pit stop window due to open in 30 seconds. It's not going to be soon enough for Tony Bates, but it would probably be best for him to put another lap down here just to make sure that they don't exceed their maximum driver time when he hands it over to Mees and they go for another lap. Wow, that's tight.
Late under brakes, too late. He's absolutely destroyed his exit there. He's going to get swamped by Denyer as well, I'd say. Look at Largo, he's got the lights flashing.
He's in a rush today.
Get out of my way.
He's flashing his lights at the co-championship leader, letting him know that he is on approach.
Trying to intimidate him. Bates again, look how deep he is under brakes.
It's a little bit too deep again here, and Denyer with a little bit of a chance now at turn 3, maybe. We know Bates is too good under brakes for an attack like that, and he hangs on. Pit window now, Tony, is open.
You can see Bates' driving style there. He's rushing into the corner a little bit too fast. Needs to just pull it back a little bit and focus a bit more on the exit of the corner. He's really hurting himself there in some of these long straights. So.
Surely these pit stops are about to start. It's enough now for car 61 to come in. And what a shame, because Antunes was driving the wheels off this car. This is a techno operation. There is...
Stay done for that one.
I think they're going to... Are they retiring this car?
Yeah, it looks like it, because Elliott's not even ready to go, so...
What a shame for Elliott. Doesn't even get to drive today. That is racing.
Oh, they're trying to bleed the brakes.
It was a brake issue.
That's scary, you know. I know Nathan and Elliott, they get a lot of sponsorship together to try and pay for all this racing, and something that you don't want to risk putting one of these things in the fence. They've got insurance on them, but still, very expensive car to fix.
Even the insurance is expensive in this sport. very expensive. It'll make your Sunday ride or your daily commute.
It is expensive, but when you're driving a $500,000 car, you know, $500,000 plus, you know, to pay $30,000 excess isn't, you know. You are taking out an insurance policy on your house, basically. So you got to look at it like that.
Surely Bates will come in on this lap to hand it over to Christopher Mees. He's the only guy in the front pack. Also Marcus Marshall will be pitting. Marcus Marshall's better to run it long, obviously, past the middle of the race, because he'll be handing that car over to Konduras, so he'll try and get his maximum driver time, which is another 4 minutes. But surely Bates, oh, that was really close between himself and Denya. From that angle, it looked like millimetres.
Very slow, though, you know, like he's just wasted a heap of time on the way into the pit lane. I'm not sure whether he's got a problem also.
Well, pit stops aren't really a factor in Carrera Cup, so he wouldn't be too used to having to dive into the pits. Sounds pretty awful, this thing on the rev limiter, on the pit lane limiter.
He was just trying to back it up a little bit so he didn't need to do another lap, or don't know. Well,
the maximum driver time starts when Mees exits the pit, so they should definitely be clear of that by the time he hops into this car. Either way, if anyone knows what they're doing, it's NPC. Seat insert at the ready for Christopher Mees as he goes to hop into that car. This is the battle between Morecambe and Largo, which has been very good. Morecambe holding his nerve with the fast approaching Largo in the Lambo. I wonder if it's best for Largo to come into the pits here just to get him out of the traffic, get him some clean air.
Yeah, that's the benefit of driving by yourself this weekend. You sort of, doesn't matter when you stop, as long as there's no safety cars that come in and change that up. But
did a good job, Tony Bates. I know he had one or two little errors along the way, but I mean, realistically, he held his own out there alongside some of the big-time pros and has given them a shot. And if there's a late race safety car, bet the house on Christopher Mees, because he will be absolutely flying home. The McLarens are in, 60 and 59. Strange, famous number to have, 59, but that was the number on the McLaren for the 12-hour win. It was also the number on the McLaren for their 95 Le Mans 24-hour win.
There you go.
That's why it's Garage 59 that SVG races for over in Europe.
It's tight in the pit lane there. You can see that they're actually going to push this car back to try and get them out. In previous events, though, they wouldn't actually allow you to do that. So you're stuck behind the car and you couldn't actually get them out.
It's almost comical.
Last year at Highlands, we were in a similar scenario and we pushed our car and actually got penalised for it. Even though we were just trying to get out of the way of the traffic.
It's kind of like the castle, but a lot more expensive. I've just got to move the McLaren to get to the Audi.
That's
Can
it.
You just move the Lambo? Finally, Christopher Mees is released out of the pits after what must have felt like a lifetime. And he is in the game. He's got 31 minutes to make an impression. Stephen Richards will be taking control of the M6. You watch this German fly. He is quick. Don't you worry about that. Smashed Tony D'Alberto's lap record yesterday. Sorry, Tony.
Thanks, mate. Hey, I wasn't out there to defend it.
Yeah,
so,
if you had a 488 out there, I'd like a
out
chance.
there, no chance.
But he is a pleasure to watch. He is just so quick and so confident in these cars. He'll be competing in the 24 Hours of Spa in an Audi soon. Make that 8 consecutive race weekends driving these beasts. Quite the life.
Here we go. Brad Shields is going to jump in.
Bit of intensity down there.
Yep.
Well, they've got a shortish pit stop, I think.
McPherson got turned around early in the race, so I'm not sure if they're in amazing shape at the moment. But Brad will definitely get every last little bit out of this car and bring it home. Got Berto weaving down the pit lane.
He's keen. He's a little bit keen and fired up, I reckon. Oh, nice work.
Oh, we've got Elliot Barber,
back.
Yeah. There you go. So they're just going to make sure that car's okay. Not sure if Elliot's in it just yet or
surely
Nathan's going to do a lap.
Says Nathan at the moment, but we'll update you.
No, that's Elliot there. So they'll just be making sure that it's okay. And, you know, it's important to give Elliot some laps around this circuit in this car. You know, it's all learning for him at the moment as well.
Scott Hookie in the older model AMG Gullwing following the two orange McLarens. Clark Quinn yet to pit. So the race leader still to come in. So it's been a disappointing afternoon for the McLaren. Kylie, what's the latest?
Yeah, it's a very dejected Nathan Antunes got out of the car there. Basically was saying he had no brakes. He stayed out there for, I guess, 3 extra laps just to try and get into that pit window. But, yeah, he was struggling. No brakes. Not a nice place to be, this place, with no brakes. So, yeah, very dejected.
Thank you for that, Kylie. And, yeah, that confirms it then. So
we're just on board there with Elliott. He's actually left foot braking, driving it like a go-kart. There's no clutch required on the downshift.
Very expensive go-kart.
Needs to get out of the way of Nathan, who's actually in the race at the moment. The teammates, I'm sure he'll make it quite easy. Clark Quinn, I believe, hasn't stopped just yet.
He's got a lap on the field as well, courtesy of the long pit stop times. And Mees will start to fly through this field in a minute. Here he comes in the background. He's picked off Jonathan Webb. Ooh. Does that one with ease. Webb knows who he's fighting. Doesn't put up too much of an issue. That radio issue hopefully solved for the Just Cuts team, which had everyone thinking that Jonathan Webb was being sick in the car yesterday. It was just, I imagine, a whole bunch of static. He's trying to communicate that to the team. Now, Scott Hookey is next for Mees to work his way through. Oh, it's a difficult time to reach this car. He's got a lot more speed, but he'll need to just be a little bit patient. If there's anyone who knows how to work through traffic, it's someone who's won the Nürburgring 24-hour before.
He's just been held up for sort of 3 to 4 corners. That probably kills 2 seconds a lap just there. So it's all important when it comes down to later in the race when he's trying to fight for that win. Notice Morecambe there, he's just got ahead of Elliott. Marcus Marshall in the pit lane now to hand over to James Konduras.
Now, he's done 35 minutes here of the race. He'll be very close to that 55% driver maximum time. Very close. This team's had a bit of a dud day. It was looking so good at one point. Such a shame for Glenwood. So now we've got one car out of sequence here, which will be the Beechwood car of Elliott Barber.
Yeah, I mean, he should be getting some blue flags to let these other guys through. But if he's a good teammate, he might try and hold Mees up for a few corners at least.
We did see that actually at Sandown last year, a little bit of teamwork like that. Actually, it was Phillip Island. It was in the 101, I think, where we saw a few of these guys holding each other up. Yeah, lights are on. Look out, Elliott. You've got one very fired up young German behind you. Love the international flavour of this category. 7 manufacturers, all kinds of engine types, ranging from 6 cylinders to 12. And Barber does a good job to get out of the way.
Got Hookey there just in front of Roger Largo. And now Clark Quinn in the pits to do his pit stop. No driver change, obviously. He's got the car to himself. So he'll do the tyre pressures, reset them, get himself ready for to run to the flag.
And in comes Largo.
Largo as well, driving by himself. So these guys don't have to jump in the car and not sure what the grip level is and all that sort of stuff. They know exactly where it's at, so you can sort of get out of the pits and get on it pretty quick.
So I guess in a way it's just like a supercars race. The race is on for these guys to beat all the guys who've already pitted back onto the racetrack. Exotic Track Days helmet there. That is the company owned and run by Scott Hookey as he's getting out of the car. So this will be a good race out of pit lane as the time is ticking for the race leader. Clark Quinn, Mark Sini now moves to the lead of the race.
But Clark is shaking his hand, saying how long we've got to go here. It does feel like a lifetime when you're sitting in the car and you're just done your driver change and they go, mate, you still got a minute to go, relax. And you go, oh, okay, righto, I'll take it out of gear again.
Here comes the pack, including Mees, Morecambe and co. Craig Bairds turning some fast laps, actually just turned the fastest off the race in the 12s. Only driver to turn a 12 so far.
So Mees trying to get a bit of a slipstream. He's just got the inside of Morecambe. Does it with ease.
Nice move. He's clear of another one. It's only for P13 at the moment, but there are still some cars in the pits. They've still got to get the whole way around for these guys who are still sitting in the pits. So it's not kind of like supercars. They actually drop a whole 2 laps in the pit stop process. It's quite bizarre, really.
There goes Largo.
Oh, he's going to be miles ahead of those guys. We said he might pop out towards the front. Can he get out in front of Honduras?
He's in a really good spot. No, Honduras
Just got past there.
Through, yeah.
There he is in the Super Barn Audi. Wow, Honduras is looking good here. Looking very good. He will be the leader of this race. Although Tony Walls has also had his pit stop and I believe will be in front of Honduras. So the race is on at the front. Now Quinn's out. Comes out in front of McLaughlin, who has pitted. Quinn is behind his father, Tony, and they're both behind Largo and Honduras.
Got a replay here. Oh, might have a bit of contact in pit lane. No, Steve has let him through.
Quite aware.
You really rely on your engineers. Don't they copper hiding over these curbs?
That's Stephen Richards at the wheel.
Well, it's his car, so he can do that if he likes.
Spinning the wars a little bit today, or this weekend in general, actually.
I spoke with Stephen yesterday. He just said his car's not quite suiting these track conditions with the heat, and also it's quite a big car to change direction. So Phillip Island style circuit really suits that big car, and we saw them right at the front of the grid there.
Is there a turbo motor in that BMW? I'm trying to think, but I think it might be the only other turbo car out there apart from the McLaren.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. Underline, I think, on that one. There's the two Quins on the track. So, dad leading son. And this is now the actual leader of the race. Tony Walls has popped out, courtesy of his short pit stop time of just 56 seconds. Nearly a full minute shorter than the Audi of Mies. Popped out in the front. And now it's up to him to survive the last 23 minutes ahead of Honduras, Largo, and the Quins. Oh, what's happened here? Is that number 2 or number 1 Audi? It's number 2. Been in the wars today, McLaughlin.
Steve Mies has got a lot of time to make up.
I know. Uh-oh, here we go. From a long way back. That's a good old-fashioned slide job, that one. Didn't quite work. And they both live to tell the tale. Mark Sini, who did lead a lap there, actually, before he came into the pits. So the field has all been through pit lane, and now this is the order that they're on the racetrack, with the objective McLaren leading from the Super Barn Audi, then the Lamborghini. And then we go back to the two Quins. It's on, 21 minutes and counting. Let's go, Tony. All the way to the flag. If there's a safety car, it'll give Mies a shot. Otherwise, I'd say he and Baird are too far back. They're actually next to each other on the track too. Still waiting for them to come through. This is how big this lead is. This is how much time Baird and Mies have to make up. Not even in the shot yet. Here comes Baird finally, and still waiting on Mies. Now he's on the front straight.
Wow, it's a lot of time, but he is about a second and a half to 2 seconds quicker than those front guys. So,
geez, that's a lot.
It's a lot. And we saw yesterday in his stint, he was lapping guys within his first stint.
Which is true. So he might just get there. Ellingham.
Whoa.
Paul Marxini's getting beaten up by fellow Audi drivers today, and Shields trying to sneak his way through. The gentleman drivers, when they try and make a move, they try and make it really obvious that they're going for it. And I think sometimes, as we check out a spin here for Greg Taylor, I think they try and make it so obvious that they're doing it that they actually disappear out of view.
Absolutely.
Of those rear view cameras that are on these cars.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really see a lot at the best of times, but then when they do a dart to the inside, you know, if you haven't caught them doing that dart, you just turn in unaware, you know? And that's why we see so many guys coming into contact from the dive bomb, which really, to me, the move's not quite on. But these guys see an opening and throw it down the inside from a football field away.
From a neutral point of view, we love it. It's exciting. A couple of Porsches on the track together here. John Martin is at the wheel. He's in P8, and he's about to pick off Ellingham in the McElrea prepared Audi, although Ellingham isn't going to make life too easy for him. 9-11 gets good exit.
Johnny Martin was really quick yesterday, actually. Car seems to have a very nice drive off the corner. Obviously a massively experienced driver, so he should be able to carve his way through some of these guys.
Craig Baird on that last lap at 12.4. He's going faster and faster, he and Mies. are in the mid-12s, and the only drivers anywhere near that sort of lap time at the moment. So they're going to come peeling through this field. It's just a matter of how far will they go.
Here's Beardo.
Already the Saint Apparel car is up inside the top 10.
You see him murdering those curves. He's certainly not scared to throw this car across the curves and shortcut the track as much as he can. He's great to watch, Beardo. He's always got the car on that absolute limit.
This is going to be like Forza Motorsport on easy level for Craig Baird for the next 19 minutes. He's going to be going past these guys like they're standing still. Love the new AMG. Got launched at the Bathurst 12 Hour this year, and looking forward to seeing it on the grid at the 12 Hour next year. It wasn't quite homologated to race at the earlier event this year in February.
They've had a lot of success, the new Mercedes. Eccleston Motorsport are running 2 cars. Dom Story and Peter Hackett there got on the podium at Phillip Island recently, and we've seen how quick Beardo's been all year.
The older model Merc had picked up big wins like the Nürburgring and Spa 24 Hours, and they'll be hoping for similar success out of their new model Mercedes. Doesn't have the gull wing doors though.
Still a good looking car.
Very, very good looking car. And very user friendly for gentlemen drivers too. Or absolute superstars like Craig Baird. They know how to get the most out of them. So Tony Wall's still leading the way, but Largo and Conduras are closing. It's now just 4 seconds covering the top 3 drivers, with Clark Quinn and Tony trying to chase them down. Clark's actually leapfrogged his dad up into P4. And then there's this battle a bit further back with Baird. Lights are blaring, peering through the field.
So Baird's actually not a bad spot here. If he can keep coming through the field like he is, Mies is not going to catch him. They're doing very similar lap times, and Baird's got quite a margin on Mies. So if any of these pro guys out of them two are going to come through, Baird's in a great spot.
As you mentioned yesterday, the best tactic or strategy is to try and make sure that your pro is in the car for the end of the last race of the weekend. And that's been the Erebus strategy today.
He'll be treating this like a qualifying lap. We're not far off qualifying times. We saw Mies yesterday. It was a 10th off his qualifying time. So for the whole time he's in the car, he's pushing, pushing, pushing. And that's the beauty of these Pirelli tyres. They're so durable. We don't see the degradation like some of the other tyres in different categories.
This is a great battle. There's one lap car separating first from second, and third is letting his intentions known. That's Roger Largo. He wants second position. We know the Audis are good under brakes though, and he can't make it stick down at turn 2. This is going to be a really good battle. Purple sector's lighting up on our timing screens. Craig Baird and Mies are on a charge. Can they catch these guys in the next 16 minutes? The gauntlet has been thrown out there. Baird goes 12.4 on that lap, fastest of the race. I reckon Mies hit some traffic because he could only bust out at 12.9. We know he's at least half a second quicker than that as this battle for second continues. Conduras doing a very good job.
Steve Hookey coming into play again. Hopefully he sees them in his mirrors coming through and sidesteps.
I think he may have got out of the car earlier, Hookey.
Oh, yes.
I think so. Should be okay, and he sees blue flags here. Oops, tight, but still well done. And the BMW moves through as well. That is for position there. Stephen Richards in the M6 not fighting here for outright honours with these cars. He's unfortunately a lap down. Now the Lamborghini with a really good run to the inside at turn 1. Oh, that's tight. Big V10 motor. Can't quite get the job done. Oh, he makes it. Oh, man, that was a really brave move in the end by Largo. And Richards trying to unlap himself here. It's going to make life miserable for Conduras, who's just relinquished second. And Quinn's coming. He's catching these guys.
Griffo's in the old SLS there. Haven't seen much of him this weekend. He unfortunately had a little bit of a shunt at Phillip Island in his new AMG Mercedes. So they reverted back to the older one for this weekend. And I think they did the same thing at Phillip Island as well. So
cool. So I'm just trying to figure out. I believe Scott Hookey started in that car yesterday, so that should be him in the car now. Either way, Confusion reigns.
We're confused.
Yeah.
On our timing screen.
We're officially confused. It says hook in the timing screen, so let's go with it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back in the pits, everyone just has to play the waiting game, including Marcus Marshall. Chatting with Jeff Emery. Quinn has caught the Super Barn Audi. He's got 15 minutes to disperse of that car and try and catch the Lamborghini. Tony Walls, what a great job he's doing right now, turning consistent lap times and building the lead over these guys.
Yeah, he's got a good 5-second margin. And at the moment, that's all he really needs to do.
Oh, this is tight, but the McLaren is level and should make it stick down at turn 3 now. Konduras drops to 4th. Not a lot he can do about that. And it's looking good here for Clark Quinn to take the championship lead ahead of the last round.
Clark Quinn is so consistent, you know, he's never really, you know, the fastest guy out there, but he's so consistent and stays out of trouble. He's doing a great job there to be in the championship lead with all these young guns and hot shots out there.
Here comes Baird. He's seriously fired up. Baird versus Martin. These two are racing each other in Carrera Cup here this time last year.
I think Beardo's got a little bit of a better weapon at the moment. That car has been competitive in every single race we've been to this year. As I was mentioning before about the BMW sort of picking its circuits where it's competitive, every track we go to with the Merc, it's right up there. So probably one of the best cars we've seen of the new generation.
This is actually for position here with Steve McLaughlin. All the new generation cars there, except for the older style Porsche at the back, who's got the headlights on too.
Brad Shields, he's giving Beardo a hurry up.
He wants to play ball with these boys.
Good job.
And down under brakes. Timing showing us that Shields is off the lead lap. So trying to actually pick his way back through the traffic.
I think he was trying to get Steve McLaughlin out of the way so he can try and go with these faster guys. It's a pretty good effort there in the older car.
Love that new Walkinshaw Porsche, the 997 GT3R. Great car as Quinn comes to lap Hookie. It's an awkward spot to try and do so. Hookie knows his presence and it banks Tony up big time.
It's very awkward for these guys. They're trying to hustle through. Hookie's trying to stay out of the way. The best thing those guys can do in that scenario is try and hold their line.
Martin aggressive to the inside and Baird should get both of them. Run it up on the curb, couldn't quite make it stick. Scott Taylor watching on, having a drink of water. He did a really good stint today. He could be proud of that effort. He's handed the car over to Baird with some shot here at a good result. They've already won races together in Perth, and Baird driving solo at the AGP won a race, and Martin's parking it defensively at turn 2, but Baird is not to be denied. Good move, Craig Baird. Clean racetrack, eyes ahead. 11 minutes 30, counting it down. Shields unlapping himself there on Quinn.
So Beardo's up to P5 now, and he's about just under 20 seconds off the lead. So what do we reckon here? Still possible to do. Just can't really get stuck behind some of these other cars for too long. He really needs to get the move done as quickly as he can and have a bit of clear track to set those blistering times. Mees, you know, he's still quite a way behind. He's setting some good lap times, but I don't know if he's going to be able to do the job.
Just a little bit too far back to make an impact. Largo, the battle for second. Quinn wanting big points to take with him. Meanwhile, Morecambe down in 13th today. Really struggling. He's going to relinquish the championship lead and be quite a way back.
Just wonder whether Webby and Morecambe, you know, they're suffering the same thing that Nathan Antunes and Elliot Barber did with the brake fade.
All Techno cars were complaining about it yesterday, and it may have reared its ugly head. Funny that the Quinn McLaren or Tony Walls not feeling the same thing. They reckon they went to a new brake pad this weekend at Techno.
Yeah.
They're thinking maybe that could have something to do with it.
More than likely. It's going to have a little bit of an impact on the brake wear, the heat, and obviously the fluid they use. These guys probably don't do a lot of testing in between rounds, so to go to a new product at a big braking circuit like this is a little bit risky, so they might be questioning what they've done after the race.
The McElroy guys.
Looks like they're texting someone there.
Crunching the numbers, maybe. So it's vital that Quinn makes this move stick here, because if he can't get around Largo, he can't chase down Tony Walls, and with only 10 minutes left, he needs to be half a second a lap quicker than Tony Walls to catch him. Largo making the wide Lambo even wider, and it's almost as if Quinn has settled here. Not even close enough to have a crack down there at turn 2.
I don't know. I reckon Quinn will keep pushing. He'll have a crack, I reckon, at Largo. Because that Lambo's so fast in a straight line, you just can't get close enough.
Mies now has caught the older model Aston Martin. Still one of the best looking cars out there, the Aston. It's timeless.
I believe that's still current shaped car, so I'm not sure if Aston have brought out a new car just yet. Had a lot of success with Tony Quinn has with that particular model. He went away from it into McLaren last year. Mies, yeah, he's hustling. I mentioned it yesterday, down the inside now, easy done. Tony Quinn is a hard man to pass. I'm not sure why, but he seems to be able to place that car.
Oh, here we go, he's got him. Okay, this is on.
See, you wrote him off.
I said he would settle for third, and he's proven me wrong. And now he's a chance at not just in McLaren 1-2, but even catching Tony Walls, but 5.6 seconds in 8 minutes. Difficult task, and he needs to just defend for one more corner before he can really start driving aggressively. Now he's got that move made. He can try and catch the race leader. Turn 11's where he got the job done. Nicely manoeuvred into second position.
Great job there. He used the rest of the circuit just to close that gap that Lambo had pulled down the straight, and made the move there.
That is the gap.
The last little sector.
He needs to be a second a lap quicker here to get him. 5.6 seconds, 7 minutes 42, or 7 minutes 36 seconds counting. Let's see if he can do it. Tony Walls just needs to focus on the job at hand. Drive it cleanly. Bring it home. He won in Adelaide, the third and final race that weekend. But this is legit. No safety cars involved in this one. Well, there was one earlier, but still doing a really good job to be leading this race right now. And Craig Baird in P5 now make that. Well, actually, at P5, I think there's a little problem with Honduras on the timing screen. There's a chance to come firing back up here. Maybe even into the top 3. Here we go. There's Honduras running away from Craig Baird. He's just turning solid 12s, lap after lap. Oops, Ellingham in the Fastway Couriers Audi. I think that's down near turn 11. Remember John Bower in the Bentley got stuck down there for a while. Yeah,
his foot actually slipped off the brake pedal, and he went straight down the escape road. Luckily, didn't do a lot of damage to the Bentley. Wow.
Ooh.
No brakes. See, he's tried to jump on the brake pedal there. Hasn't had any retardation, so he's tried to avoid contact. That could have been a lot worse.
Like the last thing that GT3 cars need is some kind of handbrake or something where you can just flick it around and get back out there, because so many guys are just losing all this time because they can't do flick turns. Get them turned around in such a short, confined space. Craig Baird is going to set the fastest lap of the race here on old tyres on this lap as he tries to chase down the leaders. The gap now, wait for it, I reckon it'll be about 4.5 seconds at the line, 4.6. There it is. Run, mate. To focus on that apex, focus on your braking markers. Don't even worry about the approaching car behind you as Baird goes around the Superbarn Audi. That last time, he was 9/10 quicker, Tony Quinn. He'll catch him just at this rate. Can he pass him?
Well, that's the problem. You know, you get to them, but then suddenly you're in the dirty air. Can't quite make the pass straight away, and he's going to have to literally, he's going to get to him right at the end of the race. So he's still going to get through a few cars to get to him. Now, Tony Walls, he's really just got to focus, hit all his targets. Only 5 minutes to go in this race, so Clark Quinn isn't quite quick enough to actually close that gap. Got a yellow flag.
Yeah, I think Ellingham's still down there doing the Austin Powers 20-point turn. I reckon that's what that's about.
So if they leave that yellow flag out there, that's one really good passing opportunity that they're not going to be able to use come the end of the race.
It's true. This car was electric on the mount this year. Unfortunately, didn't have a good result in the 12-hour after its crash going across Skyline, but in the hands of Matt Campbell in particular, it was very fast, very entertaining.
Matty Campbell, Warren Luff and Tim Slade shared that car with Tony Walls, and unfortunately Luffy, clipped the wall and shortened their day. So they would have had a really good shot at getting a result there. Really strong team.
This is what I do enjoy about this sport, is that you can have a businessman like Tony Walls, who is the owner of Objective, trying to race against a semi-pro driver like Clark Quinn, and trying to put him off all the way to the flag. 3.5 seconds that gap, 4 minutes remaining. It's going to be very tight. Can he hang on?
It's about 6-7 tenths quicker every lap at the moment, but Tony's just got to not make a mistake. That's the biggest thing. You make a mistake, drop a second lap, and then suddenly Clark Quinn's on your tail. Here we see him in the mirror now. He's not far behind. Every time Tony exits a corner, he'll have a little glance in the mirror just to see if Clark's getting any closer. I'm sure the team will be keeping you updated on the radio as well.
3.1 seconds. He'll have done the math in his head. He's a Bachelor of Mathematics, actually. Tony Walls, so he's the perfect guy to crunch the numbers to see if he can hang on to a win. Objective is a global software company that he is the CEO of. 5th year of racing. This guy with a lot more experience, a 2-time champion of this class, of this category, I should say, chasing him down all the way to the flag. 3 minutes to go, that gap now 2.8 seconds. He's catching him with every corner. What a hunt this is.
I think he's going to get to him. Whether or not he get around him, who knows? We're going to see.
Differing stories from the McLarens today. The Techno McLarens, unfortunately, with issues. Morecambe all the way back down in 11th is going to hemorrhage points big time to who will be the new championship leader, Clark Quinn, in the Styx 650S. We talk about it so often, gets to go playing race cars and then own and run a chocolate factory. Not too many people can claim that in their life.
Living the dream.
Absolutely. 2 minutes to go. There can't be more than 2 laps in this race, you'd have to say. Is he going to be close enough? Look at him catching him at 7 tenths a lap.
A little bit wide there, though. So, you know, even Clark's making a few little errors, trying to push really hard to get up the back of here of Tony.
It's the penultimate lap of the penultimate round.
So Beardo now, he's closing in on Roger Largo. Still got about 3 seconds to close, so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do that.
Here comes the Lambo. And there is the Mercedes. Baird is just on a tear. A top 3 effort would be very impressive. Clark Quinn on for round honours here today. Roger Largo potentially taking second. And despite being a bit further back in the pack, Mies should be able to climb onto the podium here today with Tony Bates, which would be quite a good effort after their second place finish yesterday. Last lap coming up. Can the New South Wales businessman hang on for the win here? It's only his 5th year of racing after success in sailing. He was the sponsor of Australia's youth sailing team at the America's Cup. And he is now very much under pressure. But there is only one real passing opportunity as Quinn gets right out to the wall, and there's going to be traffic as well. It's Greg Taylor.
Hopefully Greg will do the right thing, just move out of the way, but Tony will be getting quite nervous, getting out the back here of Greg, saying, hurry up, mate, get out of my way.
And have they moved those yellows, Tony, from down at turn 11? That'll be the big question.
There we go.
Good move, Greg.
See, Clark Quinn is getting close here. Still a couple of opportunities. Obviously, we've got the yellow flags down in turn 11, but turn 13, the last corner on the circuit, that's where it could all happen.
Here he goes. There's yellow flags.
No,
he can't
do
pass
it.
it, and he sees them and pulls back in. He had it. Oh, no, but Tony makes a mistake. You had it in the bag, Tony. You had it, and you let it go.
Oh, I feel so sorry for Tony there.
The pressure got to him. I think it was enough to spook him just seeing Clark pull up next to him. And Clark Wynn will take the sweep here in a dramatic last race. New points leader heading to the final round in New Zealand. An entertaining finish. Craig Baird take a bow, drove the wheels off the Merc all the way to 4th. Race and round victory going the way of Quinn. So he drew level with him, saw the yellows, backed out of it, but it was enough to spook Tony Walls into a mistake.
See, where he backed out of it there was almost where Tony's going to start braking. So he's just overstepped the mark, and look how much quicker he's going to that corner there.
It's still a yellow flag zone though where he passes him, but because he's run off the line, what's the rule there?
Yeah, I think he'll be okay. I think he'll be okay there because it was on the exit of the corner, and Tony did make an error. Yeah,
and the team were, I think, asking the exact same question that you and I were. Was that going to be okay? I think so. He's still absolutely on it here, Clark Quinn. He's going to break the record in the in-lap here. Anyway, that was entertaining. A 1 hour race with a very exciting conclusion. The closest race we've seen here for the GT Championship at this track sees Quinn win the race in the round from Tony Walls and Roger Largo, but Craig Baird, that was very cool to watch, wasn't it, Tony?
That was a great end to the race there. There was lots of action all through the race, but to change lead on the last lap and almost the last corner, great race in there. Morecambe a little bit further back there in 11. Unfortunately, not the day for them.
The highlights of this one, it was a frantic start that saw some 4 wide action, including Marshall going there with Tony Quinn and a few others. That was the Lewis Hamilton, Nico Rosberg line at Austria last week through turn 2. This one, Ricky Capo. Now, there was a ticking time bomb there in the back of this car from this point onwards. We'll pick up on what that was later.
And we got Rulo in the fence there. Unfortunately, short in the back of the Lambo.
And how about this? So, tyre deflates at the end of the big straight, and watch him get airborne on the curbs. Here it comes.
Wow.
Whoa. A wild moment for the Z4. Ricky Capo bringing out the safety car in spectacular fashion.
At the restart there, Clark Quinn bolted Glenn Wood down the inside, made a bit of contact with Tony Bates, and actually got a puncture, ruined their race.
An instant puncture, wasn't it? It was a bizarre one. And what a shame, because they could have been in with a shot at maybe a victory today had that not had happened, but that's racing, and they were pushing the absolute limits. The pit stop window opened, and it was unfortunately a bad result for Barber and Antunes with brake issues. The pros hopped in, including Mees and Baird. Clark Quinn pitted from the lead and had to pass a few cars into this race. Tony Walls, his shorter pit stop time put him in the lead. And then he tried so hard to hold on, but on the last lap, makes this error at the last corner. And it was enough to see Clark Quinn sneak through and pinch this one just right at the death. It's almost hard to watch, isn't it, Tony? He was that close.
I feel sorry for him, but he did a great job of holding that lead the whole time.
Congratulations on the perfect weekend. Our new championship leader is Clark Quinn. He goes to the last round in New Zealand. Very much in the hunt. Tony, my thanks to you for your help this weekend. Go down there and cheer your boy Scott Pye on in the shootout. That's an hour away, but as we go to the break, let's take a look at how the Virgin Australia and Triple Eight racing teams worked together at a recent training session with a bit of a difference.